Hello guys, this is Naruto-kun and we are back with our new fanfic, which is What If Naruto Was Only Support of Sakura After Sasuke Died Part 2. And if you enjoy this fanfic, then please press the like button and please subscribe to the channel. It motivates me to upload more fanfic like these for you all. Now let's start the fanfiction. Hours later, it was mid-morning in Naruto's apartment, and Sakura stirred, awakening to the sound of the breeze outside his window. She kept her eyes closed as she pulled herself into Naruto more, breathing in his scent. Her face was buried in his unclothed chest as she had both her arms wrapped around him like a teddy bear, a very big teddy bear. Her legs were tangled with his under thin sheets. She smiled. "You're awake?" asked Naruto. She jerked only slightly and looked up at him. He was looking down at her with a smile plastered across his face, his blue eyes swimming with emotion. "Good morning, Sakura." "Good morning, Naruto," she replied with her own, equally brilliant smile. "How long have you been awake?" "About 30 minutes is all," said Naruto. "I didn't want to wake you up just yet, so I let you sleep a little longer." He hugged her warmly. "But seeing as how you're awake now, I think it's time to get up." "I have an idea," said Sakura as she put on her sandals and tidied her hair. "Why don't I make you breakfast? I can fix you some of that bacon and eggs you liked." "You still like that, right?" "I'd love it if you would," said Naruto. "Thanks." Sakura went about making the promised meal, and not long after, they were seated at the table, eating happily, just like the good old days. When they were finished, "Naruto," said Sakura, "if you don't want to answer, it's okay, but I wanted to know what made you come back." "What?" asked Naruto. "Why did you return to Konoha?" asked Sakura. "I'm not complaining, so don't take it the wrong way, and it's okay if you don't feel like answering." Naruto put down his fork and rubbed his belly. "It was concerning Akatsuki and Orochimaru's gang," he answered. Sakura's curiosity was piqued. They are Konoha's biggest enemies, and recently, they got into a huge battle. "Really?" asked Naruto. "Yeah," said Naruto. "Now, I haven't told anyone but Tsunade, so you might want to keep this quiet." Naruto looked around, as though he expected someone to be listening in on their chat. You see, Orochimaru was pissed off when he found out Sasuke was dead. Sakura's face fell slightly. Naruto quickly pressed on. He eventually found out that it was Itachi and the Akatsuki that killed his chosen host. Afterwards, he spent a long time apparently planning his next move. He found a new body in the meantime, and a couple months ago, he found and assaulted the HQ of Itachi's gang. "No way," said Sakura with a gasp. "Yeah," said Naruto. "It was a very bloody battle. Of course, Orochimaru's group was mostly nins from Sound, but he had a lot of missing nins in his crew as well from countries all over the world. Their entire force was met with a stalemate against the Akatsuki. Both sides suffered heavy losses, and I mean heavy. I came across the battlefield a couple days after the incident with Jiraiya, and I interrogated a dying nin under Orochimaru. He told me all that I've told you." "That's so weird," said Sakura. "I mean, what if our enemies totally destroyed each other without us having to lift a single finger?" "It'd certainly be convenient," said Naruto. "But no one knows what either of them are planning now, it's kinda scary. I tried watching things for a while and keeping tabs on them, but I couldn't find out anything." "So you just came back to tell Tsunade about Orochimaru and Akatsuki?" asked Sakura. Naruto realized he made it sound like he wasn't there to do anything more than business. Honestly, that was the main reason. To him, it was just a plus that he'd have been able to stop by and see his Sakura again. His mission was top priority. "Sakura," said Naruto, "I was so glad to be able to see you and be next to you again, that it clouded my mind almost constantly while on my way here." Naruto had in a way effectively evaded a direct answer. Again, he didn't lie. All he could think about was her on his way back. "You're leaving again," said Sakura. Naruto froze. It wasn't a question. It was a statement. It was a truth. He swallowed hard, trying hard to ignore the sizable lump in his throat. You didn't intend to stay here in Konoha. No, said Naruto simply. They sat for a minute in silence. You said you were going to be staying, Naruto-kun, said Sakura. You told me you didn't want to leave again. And that's true, said Naruto. I don't want to leave again. Believe me, Sakura, when I say I would like nothing more than to settle down here in this town for the rest of my days. I would love that luxury, but I've been cursed to live a less than easy life, and I have to deal with it in the best way I can. Itachi is still after me. I haven't met him yet, but I feel every day like he'll be just waiting for me around the corner. Every day I wake up thinking about it, knowing the time is coming closer. But you've been training, said Sakura. I can see it, feel it in your chakra that you emit. You are substantially stronger than you were. You've grown so much. Sakura, my training, I'm afraid, is not close to enough to take on Itachi, said Naruto. You are right, I am a changed ninja. Jiraiya has taught me much, and I've even taught myself my own tricks with lots of practice, but I am still not as strong as you make it sound. Sakura, I'll still be in town for another day or two, said Naruto. Please, make my stay here happy. I don't want to think about any more sad thoughts. Let's enjoy the time we have and not worry about the future. Please. Oh, alright, said Sakura. She couldn't believe what she was saying. Of course it's not alright. I thought I had him back forever. I thought he would never leave me again, that I'd always be able to hold him, that he could always be able to hold me. This isn't fair. No, it's not alright. Greetings, said the voice of Hatake Kakashi from his window. Sakura jumped at his sudden appearance. Naruto, however, had sensed his presence seconds before he arrived. His teleportation technique was detected by Naruto before he'd even arrived. Kakashi didn't let on, but he knew immediately that Naruto was well aware of him being on his way before he even arrived. I knew he was stronger. What's up, Kakashi? Asked Naruto with a smile. Kakashi smiled through his mask. His benevolence doesn't seem to have changed though, I somehow sense much angst in him though. Something troubles him greatly. I was wondering if you, and maybe even Sakura, would be interested in a little bit of a friendly exhibition, said Kakashi. You know, for old time's sake, both of you against me. Really? Exclaimed Naruto, jumping from his chair excitedly. Hell yes. I'm glad to see you're still as excitable as ever, said Kakashi with a laugh. Sakura. Sure, she said, putting on a fake smile. I'll tag along. I'm afraid I may be out of your league though. You two would overpower me. Come on, Sakura-chan, said Naruto, grabbing her by the wrist and pulling her toward the window. We'll follow you, Kakashi. Kakashi descended from the window with a leap, and Naruto followed him right off the ledge and into the street. Halfway through the jump, he curled Sakura toward him and maneuvered her into his arms, landing gently below with athletic agility she'd never seen. He set her down as he noticed Kakashi had already taken flight. I see. H is already testing my ability. My ability to follow effectively. He was already several houses away, leaping rooftops with ease. Sakura, how fast are you? Can you keep up with Kakashi? Asked Sakura. Are you crazy? He scooped her into his arms again and took off into the street. His running pace was fast, very fast, especially for someone hindered by additional weight. Gaining speed, he caught up with Kakashi, still on the rooftops, and he jumped up to follow on his own turf. Kakashi glanced back and noticed the youngster was effortlessly keeping pace with him while simultaneously carrying Sakura in his arms. Kakashi zigged and zagged along the rooftops, but Naruto was constantly on him, never a step behind. He couldn't lose the kid. He was already using chakra to run faster than he normally spared for running, but it looked like Naruto wasn't breaking a sweat in the least. He decided it better to end the chase now before he exhausted himself. Landing on top of a large, flat-roofed building, Kakashi turned to see Naruto already standing behind him, setting Sakura down gracefully. She looked a little exhausted herself. Naruto just smiled victoriously. Kakashi realized that Naruto was a lot stronger than he used to be, and the boy knew it. Kakashi also realized that the kid knew he had just beaten him hands down in a chase. Granted, Kakashi wasn't trying too hard, but neither was Naruto. "Well done, Naruto," said Kakashi, regaining his composure. "You are very fast. You've trained well. Our exhibition will have to be held in the forest. I fear if we were to go at it here, the damage would be catastrophic, wouldn't it?" "It would indeed," said Naruto, grinning. "I'll lead. Try to keep up, sensei." Naruto disappeared, and Kakashi had to do a double take, straining himself to follow his trajectory. Shitty's fast, too fast. Kakashi also realized that Sakura was gone too. He picked her up and then took off. My god, he's completely different. Kakashi caught up with Naruto, straining and pushing himself harder and harder to keep up. He ran alongside the blonde boy, who was watching with a grin on his face still. Was he still playing? Kakashi hoped not, but at the same time, was very proud. Naruto beat Kakashi to the woods by only a couple feet, about half a second altogether. They skidded to a halt and faced each other. Naruto again gracefully grounded the girl in his arms, whose hair was all over her face. She tried to brush it out of her eyes. "Naruto, you messed up my hair," she said angrily. "Gomen, Sakura," he said sheepishly. "You still look beautiful. Don't worry." Sakura instantly forgave him and gave him a peck on the cheek, thanking him for his compliment. Kakashi smiled to himself at his former students' affection for each other, but was at the same time saddened to know that Naruto would no doubt be leaving again. It was a shame, but Kakashi understood completely what he had to do. "Let's begin," said Kakashi. He held up two bells and tied them to the belt of his flak jacket. "You remember the game. Retrieve the bells with intent to kill me in every strike. Of course, I'm in no position to punish you two for failure, but I'll reward you by buying dinner if you can snatch them from me." "Ikiruka ramen, here I come," said Naruto, posing for an attack, grinning. "Kakashi, you will be buying me a nice, steaming bowl of ramen before the night is over, and my victory will be decided in 5 minutes or less. I do hope that I spelled the ramen bar's name right. I probably didn't. Since I'll be needing it in the next chapter, it'd be nice to get a review with the correct full name. Anyone who submits the review will have their most recent story read, reviewed, and then advertised on my next chapter's author means I have to have the link to your profile page with the review. Thanks." Such confidence, thought Kakashi. Who does he think he is? Does he think he's that strong? I can't be sure about him, but I don't think Naruto's self-confidence is misplaced. I better watch myself. Perhaps telling him to try and kill me wasn't a smooth idea. "Just come and fight me," said Kakashi, taking his battle stance. "You have 5 minutes. That's your gamble. If it's not won in 5 minutes, no ramen. If I beat you in 5 minutes, you buy me ramen." "Deal," shouted Naruto. Kakashi was thrown off by the boy's confidence still. He wasn't in the least bit fazed by Kakashi's return gamble. In fact, it seemed to fuel Naruto even more, assuring him a sure victory. This could get very ugly. "We won't play around then," said Kakashi, moving his hand up to the headband around his forehead. He lifted it ceremonially from his left eye to expose the swirling Sharingan eye. It was blood red. Naruto smirked confidently again. This was going to be fun. He knew it. Tsunade sat in her office, massaging her temples to try and alleviate some stress. Sure, they were mostly peaceful times, but being Hokage was still very trying, and the recent news about Akatsukin and Orochimaru from none other than Naruto was troubling. She got out a crystal globe and peered into it. Where is that blonde abomination of insanity? His image appeared to her in the ball. He was crouched, prepared to attack Kakashi, Sakura nearby. A friendly skirmish. No doubt this could be interesting. She stood up and jogged out of the office, opening the door and closing it loudly. The Anbu and her secretary gave her a troubled look before asking what in the fourth's name had driven her to just leave. Naruto and Kakashi are clashing. She called over her shoulder, starting to run. It's bound to be a good matchup. The two Anbu exchanged a glance at each other. A silent agreement was made. There's no point in guarding the Hokage's office now. Why bother? Perhaps a little trip to the woods to see the fight would provide a break from the monotony. They ran away down the hall, leaving the stunned desk secretary in their wake. Wait for me. Naruto made the first charge at Kakashi, and he leapt with a primal roar into the air. Kakashi waited for him to descend. Naruto's flying kick landed on the crossed arms of Kakashi, causing him to skid backwards on his toes. As Naruto recoiled backwards through the air, he tossed two kunai as quick as lightning. Kakashi looked up from behind his defensively placed arms to see the kunai practically right on him. He turned his body 90 degrees as they soared past him. They would have struck his shoulders, not direct attacks. This sent off alarms in his head. Naruto had wanted his to turn exactly like he did, which meant he was already preparing something. It was a basic distraction technique. Make your opponent focus on a thrown weapon while you make your charge from the side. Kakashi turned around as fast as he could to see Naruto running at him with a kunai in each hand, all 6 hands. Naruto wasn't 1, he was 3. It dawned on Kakashi a little too late. Kakashi had been forced to look away for a period of time just long enough for Naruto to make the hand seals for the Kage Bunshin. He didn't see Naruto's trademark attack coming at him. They were just there, all 3 of them, their sharpened blades prepared. Of course, the Sharingan was a huge helper. He saw where all 3 of the attacks would be placed a split second before they even happened. With amazing agility and flexibility, he arched backwards to avoid the horizontal lunge of the first clone. Or was that the real Naruto? Bending up again, he jumped over a slide tackle attempt by the second. Again, Kakashi realized this was bad. Naruto had forced him to jump, and dodging in mid-air was very difficult against a skilled ninja. There was still one Naruto left, and his kunai drove up towards the copy ninja's chest. Kakashi pulled himself into a roundhouse kick to smash the weapon out of Naruto's hand. Naruto himself hadn't been hit. All 3 were still there, now surrounding him, and he didn't know which one was Naruto or a clone. This is where it would be nice to have a Byakugan for a right eye, thought Kakashi amusedly. His reasoning, of course, was that the Hyuga clan's bloodline eye had the ability to see chakra flows, and thus detect clones made of chakra, like a Kage Bunshin. Tsunade and 2 following Anbu, of course, attracted the stares of many people in Konoha, especially other Anbu, who were always the most perceptive of nins. What's going on? Asked a ninja to one of the trailing Anbu. Kakashi and Naruto are having a small fight. We're going to watch. Uzumaki asked the ninja. He's back. This ninja was Naruto's first instructor, Iruka. He stopped and watched them run off, tears welling up in his eyes. His favorite student was home. For what reason, he knew not. He had to see him. First, however, he took off into the village to find some people. Naruto was little stunned when Kakashi took the initiative of attacking first. He targeted one of the Narutos without any weapons. As soon as Kakashi moved, the other 2 closed in from behind with great speed. He had one shot at taking out the first clone before the other 2 were there. He raised a fist to strike, and he saw where the Naruto was going to defend, courtesy the Sharingan. He drove his foot into the open spot under his chest. The clone exploded into smoke as he turned around and armed 2 kunai with blinding speed. Using each hand, he parried the kunai of his 2 opponents, and then he pushed them backwards, summoning the chakra into his arms for his bidding. The clones skidded backwards and stood next to each other. Kakashi briefly wondered why they had stopped. An alarm went off in his head when they each started making hand seals he'd never seen before. They were fast, very fast. The making of the seals was perfect, passing in a blur. The series, he imagined, would have taken himself a fell 2 seconds to make. He noted that Naruto had finished them in just a little over 1 second. Chakra release. Barrier no jutsu. They shouted simultaneously. Kakashi's swirling Sharingan went to work on the new jutsu technique he'd just witnessed. For a second, nothing chakra-related happened. However, this was just a slight delay. A transparent blue dome had sprang up, 50 feet in diameter, with Naruto as its center. This left Kakashi just a few feet from the edge. He looked around at the marvelous work or jutsu. He knew immediately that this barrier kept them in, while keeping anything else alive out. They were alone, all three of them. It is a technique that requires two people to activate in absolute symmetry, said the pair of Narutos together. Which make it almost impossible to two individual beings. Kakashi was deeply impressed. Made entirely of chakra, said Kakashi, looking at the blue, wavy barrier. Very nice. No stalling, said the two Narutos. My dinner is on the line. I've got 4 minutes and 10 seconds left. Yes, all that happened in less than 50 seconds. Unfortunately for Kakashi, both the Naruto clones disappeared into smoke. His eyes widened. Very seldom was the ninja shocked at anything. All three of them he had been fighting were clones. He knew Naruto was done this more than once, giving the impression that one of the people fighting was real, when all were in fact Bunshins. But there was nothing else sealed in the barrier. If the real Naruto was outside, then he couldn't get in. Kakashi turned around, looking. They were in a clearing. There were no trees in the dome which could be used to hide in. Not even a rock laid nearby. Perhaps a genjutsu, but Naruto's not an illusion jutsu ninja. Granted, he's got all kinds of strange quirks, but I've never seen any illusion techniques from him. Kakashi realized it wasn't an illusion. For one thing, the Sharingan made it significantly easier to avoid being fooled by genjutsus when put up against a foe without a Sharingan of his or her own. For second, he didn't have time to contemplate the Sharingan's usefulness, for a hand shot out of the ground and grabbed his ankle. Naruto was under the earth. Amazing. A second hand reached up and grabbed his other ankle. He was completely rooted to the ground, and Naruto was using some good chakra to enforce his trap. Out of the ground behind him burst Naruto. But his hands were still holding him to the ground, so how could Naruto be up here still? More cage bunchins were in this fight than Kakashi had been under the impression. Kakashi had to summon a lot of chakra to his legs to jump out of the trap. Naruto's hand barely missed the bell tied to his belt. Kakashi went soaring up and flipped so his feet landed on the roof of the barrier. He kicked off of it to the ground, soaring like a rocket as he charged in his left hand a sparking ball of blue lightning. It was roaring with power now. Of course, Naruto recognized it as the Chidori. The power was tremendous. Kakashi struck not the space where the standing Naruto was, but instead targeted the center of the dome in the ground. His clawed hand hit with tremendous force, causing the soil to glow blue for half a second before it all exploded in a flash of blue light. The chakra blast exploded the barrier. It was either that, or Naruto had brought down the barrier. When the dust dissipated, a clearly scratched and torn Naruto stood nearby. He'd been touched by the blast radius of the attack. Of course, the barrier only remains standing if the two conjurers of it are intact. That means there is no longer more than one of me. The ground they had been on was a crater. You weren't aiming for me. You just wanted all Bunshins gone. Good move. Got any new techniques you can show me? Asked Kakashi. This one's kinda unoriginal, but I think you'll like it, said Naruto. He powered a couple of simple hand seals. Kakashi knew all too well it was another cage bunshin technique. 10 Narutos appeared in a row, grinning wildly. Ready or not, Kakashi dropped into a fighting stance. The 10 Narutos also took their fighting stance. Here we come. The 10 Narutos made their quick assault on Kakashi. Sure, he had his Sharingan eye, but he knew he was hopeless if forced to just sit there and wait. He jumped straight up as he threw two kunai as fast as he could. Both struck fatally, and 2 doppelgangers disappeared into smoke. 8 left, he thought. Landing on a tree branch above, he jumped right back down at another set of clones. He swiped with a kunai in one hand while karate chopping with the other. He took down another 2 clones effortlessly as they jumped at him, again only blowing up into smoke remains. One tackled him from behind, but a well-placed roll and spin maneuver had him favoring the grapple, and he drove the kunai into the clone's chest. A total of 5 Narutos were dead. He stood straight and he realized something was obviously the matter. Naruto was tougher than this, a lot. He shouldn't have wasted 5 clones in only a few quick seconds. No, something was being planned, if it already hadn't been, in Naruto's little mind. Chakra started surging like electricity in the air surrounding him. A lot of energy was being used for something, and it was very powerful, powerful enough that it was charging the atmosphere with destructive chakra. He searched for the source. Of course, what he saw was very disturbing and troubling. You try staring 5 Rasengan attacks down and feeling safe. That was Kakashi's dilemma. From all sides, a Naruto was hurling at him with unmatched speed, unavoidable speed. Each Naruto had that primal look on his face, with the whiskers extended, the eyes wide and slatted, the claws bared, and a big, swirling, red ball of chakra in one hand. These 5 balls of chakra had him marked, and he didn't even have time for the most basic of teleportation techniques. Kakashi, as one might say, was up a creek, and he hadn't a paddle. Multi-Rasengan, he screamed. Kakashi did the only thing he could. He ducked and pulled his arms over his head. The balls of chakra all were there in an instant. He had his eyes closed. He was done for. He couldn't believe the power. He didn't actually think that Naruto could kill him. He had held back. He shouldn't have held back against the blonde. For seconds he waited for the explosion, but none came. There was no roaring boom, or shock wave that shook the earth and caused the most destruction one could fathom. Nothing happened. He heard a slight jingle nearby. Looking up, he saw Naruto, obviously pleased with himself, holding a bell attached to a string between his fingers. He waved it in front of his former sensei's face. "Gotcha, Kakashi," he said. "Naruto, you didn't think I would kill you," said Naruto. "Come on. Have some faith in my integrity, Kakashi." Kakashi stood up straight to face his former student. "Wow, Naruto. That was impressive. I have to hand it to you. You've grown more than I could have ever imagined." There was a low rumbling that sounded as though in the distance, but it wasn't really far away. The noise became louder and louder, and it sounded like clapping, like lots of clapping at that. People were applauding. Looking around, Naruto saw almost the entire village of shinobi standing nearby, smiling, cheering, shouting and clapping in applause. It was an amazing sight to behold. "Way to go, Naruto," shouted Ino. "That totally rocked, man," cheered Kiba. "All right, Naruto," shouted another. More were cheering his name, screaming their praises. Naruto couldn't help himself. He was overwhelmed with emotion. The tears welled up behind his eyes, and he couldn't hold them back. He wouldn't hold them back. All of his friends were here, all of the people he grew up with and loved were there again to see him. He waved as their cheering died. "Well, now we just have to see how Sakura does against me," said Kakashi. He felt a tug at his waist and whirled around. It was too late though. Sakura had jumped backwards just out of reach, and in her hand was a tiny bell on a string. "What?" yelled Kakashi. "You lost your focus, Kakashi," said Sakura with a smile and a wink. "That's very unshinobi-like of you. Ninjas should never take their mind off of their mission. Come on, it's basic ninja law." "You got me, Sakura," said Kakashi with a sigh. He noted that he probably could have taken the girl on and won, but he was dead tired and exhausted from his fight with Naruto. Almost all of his chakra had been depleted. Naruto's former classmates ran up to him to talk with him and praise him. It had been 5 years since he really had seen them, with the exception of Ino of course, who he'd seen just when he went looking for Sakura. "Naruto!" yelled Rock Lee. We must fight. I promised you a fight to test your strength when you returned. No thanks, thick brows, said Naruto, scratching the back of his head. I'm a little worn out from my practice with Kakashi. Some other time, okay. Deal, said Lee enthusiastically. So good to see you're okay, Naruto, said Iruka in front of him. They were of equal height now, and it was really weird for them to have to look up or down at each other. You've grown so much. I can't believe that's really you. It's really me, said Naruto, grinning from ear to ear. What about you? Did you get any stronger? I've been teaching at the academy still, said Iruka sheepishly. Not much time for training. Come on, Naruto, said Sakura, grabbing the boy by the arm and tugging him away from the crowd. Kakashi owes us a meal. We can't let him get away. Oh my gosh, you're right, said Naruto. Kakashi. Hey Kakashi. The silver-haired Junin of course heard the boy's yells, and he turned around to face the child who had defeated him. Yes, Naruto, he asked. What is it? To be perfectly honest, he was pretty sure he knew exactly what it was that the boy was about to bring up. Ramen at Ichiraku, said Naruto enthusiastically. You owe me and Sakura. Let's go. I'm hungry and cannot wait. Sigh. Okay Naruto, follow me. That night, Naruto played host to an unexpected guest in his apartment. Gaara of the Sand had shown up after all the celebrating and reunions. Gaara, what the hell are you doing here? Asked Naruto, opening his door wide for the leader of Sunakage. This is definitely unexpected. Come in. Naruto was alone in his home, having been alone for just over an hour. When he heard a knock on his door, he was actually expecting it to be Sakura. It was getting late now though, and she was probably at home with her family. Thanks, Naruto, said the ever-calm Sand Nin, striding in and surveying his surroundings. It was a dump to say the least. He preferred everything to be neat. This blonde, on the other hand, didn't share his tidiness. Whatever. To each his own. What brings you here, Gaara? Asked Naruto. Is something the matter? I need to talk with you about some things, said Gaara calmly and carefully. You are not the only one who's been monitoring Akatsuki. I know about what happened between their crew and Orochimaru, so there's no need to explain. Listen, Akatsuki's target isn't just the demon in you. Don't tell me they're after Shukaku as well, said Naruto in his traditional whine. Gaara nodded. Damn it, have you run into any trouble lately? None at all, said Gaara. I actually have yet to encounter any members of the Akatsuki directly. I've just been having spies keep tab for me. So what are you going to do? Asked Naruto. I mean, it's not like you can go into hiding. No, I can't, said Gaara. If they come to fight me, I'll fight them directly. You should be prepared to fight as well, Naruto. There's more I've discovered that concerns the both of us as well. Oh, asked Naruto. Go on. Though I have a feeling you may already have a faint idea as to what I have to say, added Gaara. It's about the demons in us. We're dying, said Naruto. Gaara closed his eyes and smiled. Bingo, he replied. Yeah, I have been feeling it recently, said Naruto. The Kyuubi, it is killing me. Yes, said Gaara. At the same time, I am dying because of the Shukaku. There's only so long that a human body can withstand all that demonic strength. I understand, said Naruto. How'd you find all this out though? Did some research, said Gaara. There have been a total of 3 Jinchuriki in possession of the Shukaku. They all died by the time they were 15. Gaara, we're older than that by a few years, said Naruto. I know, said Gaara. Such a fact was obvious. The next time we are forced to use our demonic selves, that is to say that, the moment you use Kyuubi to boost your strength, you will have sealed your fate. The same goes for me and Shukaku. Bummer, said Naruto, looking down. So that's it. We're done for. There's no way to reverse it either, said Gaara. The demon can be pulled out and sealed in another container, or basically in another human child, but it will kill the original Jinchuriki. I wouldn't pull the Kyuubi from me even if it could save my life, said Naruto. So what do we do about this? It's very hard to say, Naruto, said Gaara. There is a major battle approaching. I am sure of it. Akatsuki has few elite members left, but they are still strong. This next battle, should any of us be forced to engage in it, will undoubtedly be our last. It's only a matter of when this battle occurs. I see, said Naruto. Itachi, whenever he strikes, will have the advantage against us should we be divided, but if the both of us fight together with our demon lifeforms, we would stand a chance, said Gaara. He smiled. Naruto returned the gesture. This was another reason for my coming here. With this information about the Biju in the both of us, I figured we should take the initiative. You mean attack Akatsuki, as opposed for waiting for the inevitable? Asked Naruto. Gaara silently nodded. It's a good idea. You can't tell anyone, Naruto, said Gaara, glancing around. This is a top secret deal. Not even Tsunade knows I'm in town, so I could technically be in a lot of trouble should I be found. It wouldn't be a problem getting away, but it'd ruin foreign relations. Right, said Naruto with a smile. Hey, while snooping about and looking up stuff, you didn't find anything about Orochimaru, did you? He attacked the village once a few weeks ago, said Gaara. This news came as a great shock. What? Asked Naruto. I didn't hear anything about that. That's because I kept the whole thing a secret, said Gaara. Nobody outside of Suna except you knows about it. That's because I didn't want you rushing out to Sunakager, as I know you would've. You're damn right I would've, said Naruto. I could have helped. Listen, we pulled through just fine, said Gaara. There were surprisingly few casualties. It was an attack out of desperation for him, because he's running out of time to find a new body, or rather, the body he wants. Who's that? Asked Naruto. You, said Gaara. He's been looking all over for you. You have a young body, and sealed within you is the most powerful Biju of all the tailed demons, Kyuubi. He wants that power to complement his own. His second choice was me, because of the Shukaku. That's why he attacked Sunagar. He wanted me in captivity, should he not be able to find you in time. Does he know I'm in Konoha? Maybe, said Gaara. I don't know. He very well may. He's been devoting a lot of time to finding your ass, and every day he grows angrier, but he is not the topic or main focus of our concern. We need to be worried about Akatsuki and the demons. I understand your meaning, said Naruto. He sighed heavily. Well, if I have to prematurely depart this world, I might as well take something out with me, That's the spirit, appraised Gaara. Gaara had left, choosing to not stay in Konohakagure too long, as he might be discovered. In fact, the only people in Sunakager who knew he was missing were his two siblings of the sand, Temari and Kankuro. He told Naruto that he would be staying just outside of Hidden Leaf's borders, waiting for his arrival. Meet me in 2 days, he told Naruto before he left. I will be waiting for you. 48 hours should give you enough time to tie up any loose ends you have in this town. Okay, said Naruto. Take care until then. He didn't know if Gaara heard him or not, because he had already begun walking away, and didn't acknowledge his words. Naruto closed his door silently and walked back to his window to look out at the star-lit town he loved. He did love it. A lot. Everything he knew and loved was here. He had friends, some so close that they could be considered family, Iruka-sensei, Kakashi-sensei, all his academy classmates, Sakura-chan. Naruto sighed as he rested his chin on his hands over the window sill. What would he do? He couldn't just tell her, or anyone for that matter. But Sakura deserved to know. I'm sorry, Sakura-chan. This is going to hurt you a lot. I know it will. He had actually had a bad feeling that this was happening, that he was dying as a result of the Kyuubi being in him. He hated it. The stupid demon fox wasn't something he asked for. He was only a baby. Why was I chosen? He yelled at the city, getting no reply. What did I do to deserve it? I don't want this stupid thing in me anymore. Tears started to flow from his eyes as he silently cried. I'm not even sad that I'm going to die, am I? He asked himself. I'm going to hurt a lot of people. I can't even tell them why. This is so pathetic. I am so pathetic. He stayed up all night watching the city. He wouldn't get much more of a chance to look at his beloved home after this night. Sakura knocked on his door in the late morning. Naruto hadn't moved from his position all night, so it was a bit difficult to walk for the first few steps. Coming, he said when the knocking came again. He opened the door to see the beaming, smiling face of Sakura, his pink-haired love. Hey Naruto, she said happily as the blonde boy came into view. She looked at his face. Naruto-kun, you look like hell. What's the matter? Nothing, he said a little too quickly. He turned around and walked back into his apartment, an invitation for Sakura to follow him in. He heard her shut the door as she entered. So what's up? I just came by for a visit, she said. I was wondering if you wanted to walk around with me again today, before you had to leave again. Naruto looked down sadly and sighed. Yeah, sure, he said quietly. He would love to spend time with her. Honestly, he would have any time but now. It would be so depressing. Tomorrow night he had to leave for good. There would never be a homecoming for him. Just being around her would be a constant reminder of how much pain she would be in when she found out he was dead. Naruto, what is wrong with you? Asked Sakura sternly, placing her hands on her hips. You look like you didn't sleep last night. I didn't, said Naruto, laughing weakly a couple times. He turned to face her with the best smile he could muster. Sakura noticed that Naruto had just failed to give his patented, signature smile. She walked up to him and took his hands in her own. Naruto, something's wrong. You can't cover it up. You can tell me. Naruto looked down into her green eyes, filled with concern. He sighed. I'm sorry, Sakura-chan, but I can't tell even you, he said weakly. He pulled away and walked towards the door. Come on, let's get some fresh air. I could use a walk. He left the bewildered girl in the apartment alone for several seconds. She couldn't help but feel that the nin she loved was in a great deal of mental pain at the moment, and being unable to soften his pain made her feel so helpless. She quickly ran to catch up with him outside. So where do you want to go? Asked Naruto, waiting for the girl to catch up. I don't know, said Sakura, holding onto Naruto's arm lightly. Any ideas? Hey Naruto, what about that fight? Yelled an all too familiarly annoying voice. Rock Lee jogged up to him and Sakura, breathing heavily. Hey Lee, said Naruto. Can't fight now. I'm spending time with Sakura. I know, said Lee, giving his nice guy smile and wink. We'll fight some other time. You look tired, said Sakura. I've been training all morning, he said matter-of-factly. I wake up at 4 every morning to start my training. I'm taking a break for right now for an early lunch. Then, it's back to training. Wow, said Naruto. If you've been following a schedule like that, I'm afraid I might lose to you when we fight. You can bet on it, said Lee confidently. See you guys around. He ran off down the streets. Does anyone else know I'm leaving again? Asked Naruto to Sakura. Kakashi and I, plus Tsunade of course, know about it, answered Sakura. I haven't told anyone, and I don't think anyone else has. That's good, said Naruto with a sigh. Please, Naruto, tell me what's beating you up, pleaded the girl. I've not seen you this upset before. You can tell me you know. Naruto stopped walking and sighed again, a seemingly repetitive task for the day. She would find out later anyway, right? He'd been thinking about it for a few minutes. She did deserve to know. Sakura, we need to sit down somewhere, he said quietly. He led her to the other side of the street, where a park bench was conveniently placed, isolated from the crowds on the street. He sat down, and Sakura took a seat next to him, holding his hand. Sakura, I don't know how I'm supposed to say this, began Naruto. Just say it, Naruto, she said, annoyed. I won't be coming back to Konoha when I leave tomorrow, he told her. I will never be able to return. You said you'd try, said Sakura. I'll just wait for you. I trust you, Naruto, and I know you'll do your best to come back, and I'll be waiting for you. No, Sakura, said Naruto. You don't understand, never. I will never be back, because it's impossible for me. What do you mean, Naruto? Asked Sakura. I don't think I get it. I'm dying, Sakura, said Naruto a little harshly. She hiccuped at his outbreak. What? I'm going to die, confirmed Naruto. It's the Kyuubi, the demon fox that's sealed inside me is killing me, and my days here are numbered. I should actually be dead, compared to the lifespans of others like me who've had a demon sealed in them, but those people almost constantly used their power. When are you going to die? Asked Sakura, beginning to cry. The next time I fight, said Naruto. The next time I'm forced to tap into Kyuubi's power, I will be completely consumed, and I will die right after. Sakura's eyes were misted over, and the tears started to fall down her cheeks. I've not told anyone else, said Naruto. Gaara knows though. He visited me last night. He's going to suffer the same fate as I am, as he's being killed by the Shukaku demon. We came to decision. A decision? Asked Naruto. What are you talking about? If Gaara and I just try to avoid fighting for the rest of our lives, Itachi and Orochimaru will search for us, and they will undoubtedly kill a lot of people until they find us. And when we are found, we don't stand a chance, alone. But if Gaara and I take the initiative and attack together, we can take at least Itachi down with us, along with most of Akatsuki as well. We'll both fight with the help of our demons and we'll accomplish something before we die. Gaara said he managed to uncover the secret lair of Akatsuki. So you're just going to go commit suicide? Sobbed Sakura. You're just going to leave and go off to your death? Yeah, said Naruto quietly. If I'm going to die, then damn it, something good is going to come of it. I'm not going to just let the Kyuubi take me without a fight. Can't you just have it removed? Asked Sakura. Can't it be unsealed? No, it can't, said Naruto. Well, it can, but it will kill me anyway, and I'd have to seal it in another child. I'll be damned if another kid is going to suffer the way I did, only to find out that they're going to die. The whole purpose of sealing a biju in a kid is for it to grow up and become a weapon to fight for the country it lives in. I got it for a better reason, I admit. The purpose of my sacrifice was the salvation of the rest of the village. Gaara has had to live with knowing that his purpose of existence was to just be a tool, a weapon. That's terrible, said Sakura. Tell me about it, said Naruto. So that's what's wrong. I have to leave town tomorrow night with Gaara, who's waiting at our country's border north of here, and head off to my own death. And that's not even what's pissing me off, said Naruto, growing angrier. What's got me upset is what I'll be causing. Sure, I'm going to miss everything here, and I'm going to miss you most of all, but I'm going to hurt a lot of people when I die. I'm going to be leaving you all alone. I can't stand that. Naruto, said Sakura. I don't want you to die. I have to. Sakura-chan, said Naruto. It's written in my destiny. I will die, and there's nothing I can do to stop it. All I can do is hope that I can accomplish some good before I go down. Naruto had his little belongings packed and ready to go. He didn't need much really, so he had a small backpack. He just needed some light provisions for the trip to wherever Gaara would be leading him. There would be no return trip for him and his friend from the sand. It was nightfall, and the sun had only just completed its setting. Night was just fine for Naruto. It would help him get out without anyone stopping him to say hello or talk with him or anything like that. He didn't want to have to deal with any of his friends on the way out of town, as it would be far too awkward for him. He zipped up his pack and left his apartment with a heavy sigh. This was his home, and he would be leaving it. Most everything was still in its messy state, as he didn't feel the need to clean any of it anymore. While packing up to leave, he wrote a letter and left it in his apartment where someone would find it. It was his will. Writing your will was actually a funny concept to Naruto. He sat writing everything down that he could think of. What made it even more amusing was that he didn't really have much to give away. Just a bunch of junk, really. He wrote that Haruno Sakura had first dibs to pick whatever she wanted before anything was taken. After that, everything was for the most part to be donated or sold for the benefit of Konoha. He had a few pictures of people, like a picture of his team, and a picture of himself and Iruka together at the ramen bar. Such pictures were willed to whoever was in the pictures besides himself. His old goggles he willed to Konohamaru, the little punk that practically idolized him. His membership card to the Ichiraku ramen bar, which gave him benefits every now and then after buying a certain amount of ramen, he also willed to Iruka. He wasn't sure if Iruka loved ramen as much as he did, but he was glad that his teacher was always willing to share a few moments with him anyway. The apartment was the hardest thing to come to a decision about. He figured he could have it auctioned if Sakura didn't want it, so he wrote in his will that he wanted Sakura to decide its fate. Sakura. Their last night together was a scary one, though it was equally happy. Sakura asked him the day that he'd told her of his fate if she could spend one last night with him before he left. He obliged, and they went back to his apartment that night to be alone. Naruto felt that he wanted to take the occurrences of that night with him to the grave. No one would know, except him and Sakura. He knew it was considered wrong for people as young as he and Sakura to have a sexual relationship, but neither he nor Sakura really cared. It was a night he would take with him to his death as the best night of his life. It was the night that they sealed their bond of love. Sakura, naturally, was timid at first, as was Naruto, but they got over it and professed their love for each other with the ultimate act of bonding. Naruto was slowly and calmly walking down the dimly lit streets of Konoha now. He was going to leave, once again, and this time was the last. He wasn't going to come back. He reached the forest edge of the village. Once he left, there was no returning. No one would know what happened to him, except for Sakura. He had to make her swear not to tell anyone about his condition and how he was going to die fighting Akatsuki. She finally did swear, and Naruto trusted her fully to keep the secret. He knew he could trust her and have faith in her. He smiled to himself as he looked at the town he was never going to see again as a living being. Everything is in Konoha, he said to himself. All the people and things that I love live in this town. Every now and then, I felt like I just didn't belong, but there's no doubt in my mind that this is my home, where I was meant to be. Konoha, everyone, I will miss you more than you can know, probably more than you will miss me. Naruto snapped to a straight stance and saluted the village for a second, a smile a mile wide across his face. He wasn't faking the smile. This was most likely his most genuine smile ever. He was remembering everything he was going to leave behind, bringing forth all the memories he loved and thinking about everyone he loved. Iruka took the giant shuriken to the back to save his life when he was so young, and he explained Naruto's inheritance of the demon fox. The team assignments were announced after he had graduated from the academy, and he was overjoyed at being with his crush, Haruno Sakura, and only slightly intimidated at being in a team with the legendary Uchiha Sasuke. Then there was the time that Sasuke dove in front of him and took the attack meant for him in the wave country. Sasuke died in his hands, sending him over the edge to fight and pummel that kid who did it to him. And then the joy at realizing Sasuke was going to be okay. Sakura and Sasuke then shared their bowls of ramen with him so that he wouldn't starve as a result of failing the training exercise. "You guys!" shouted Kakashi, appearing out of nowhere. "Pass." So many memories flooded his head concerning his friends. He saw all his teammates fight so well in the Genin selection tournament, and then there was the time he became friends with Gaara and the Sand siblings. There was his first encounter with Tsunade, meeting the soon-to-be Hokage of Konoha and making that bet with her. Tears were coming to his eyes, but he wasn't crying. He was loving every minute that he stood there, recalling all his precious memories of Konoha and its residents. What a place this is, he whispered. I promise every one of you in this town that I will not die in vain. My death will have meaning. I will bring a stop to Akatsuki and Orochimaru so that you can all live without any worry. It's a promise, and it will be kept. Naruto lowered his hand from the salute and stood at ease. Because that is my ninja way. Naruto turned tail and ran into the deep, black forest that bordered his beloved Konohagakure, silently taking his leave of home. As he disappeared into the silence of the black depths, someone peeked their head out from behind a tree's shadow. Sakura had Tsunade's training to thank for remaining undetected. She had been taught to suppress her chakra, even her heartbeat, so that even the most skilled ninja wouldn't hear it beat or her lungs inhale. She watched as he kept running and vanished. She looked back at the town, where only a few lights burned. She turned to face the dark woods again. She was mulling something over in her brain. She would never hear the end of it for leaving town, but she had to. It wasn't up for debate with anyone. It wasn't anything anyone could even explain, including herself. She supposed it was her undying love for Naruto that made her want to go with him. That she loved him so much she would go anywhere with him, but to try and explain it in so few words seemed insulting to the boy she cared for most. It was a very complicated sense of emotion and feeling that ran through her for Naruto-kun. She remembered their first days together at the academy. He was, of course, constantly shunned. She vaguely recalled Naruto trying to please her one day, shortly after their first classes had begun. Happy Valentine's Day, Sakura-chan, said Naruto shyly, handing a scrappily cut red heart card to the pink-headed girl who was talking with the blonde one named Ino. She turned in a rapid snap to face him. Who are you? She asked snobbily with a scowl. She recalled thinking of how unimportant he was on account of not being Sasuke. Gomen, Sakura, I am just Naruto. Look at how dirty he is, Ino whispered, loudly. Sakura and Ino laughed maliciously as tears came to Naruto's eyes. He pushed the card forcefully into her hands and ran away. She never even read that card. No, I don't want to remember all the times I hurt him, she thought, shaking her head as if she could physically push the memories away. Her thoughts immediately drifted to the last night she slept in Naruto's apartment, 24 hours ago approximately. Even the black of the night couldn't hide her blush. She couldn't believe what she had done last night. It felt good, but she felt guilty as well. If she told anyone, she'd be killed. Parents would kill her. Then Tsunade would kill her, even though Sakura was sure a woman such as her wouldn't have waited till marriage to engage in ahem. Sakura pushed the thoughts away again. I can't leave Naruto alone. He wouldn't leave me alone if I were in his shoes. I know what Naruto would do. He'd help the people he loves. He helped me so much. It's decided. I'll follow him. Sakura ran into the forest. Naruto had a few minutes head start and was far enough away that Sakura should be able to track him without being detected at the same time. She'd have to utilize a lot of stealth to follow someone as strong as Naruto, but she was confident she could manage. Almost 15 minutes later, Naruto skid to a halt and looked around. This was the meeting place. He was in the small clearing that Gaara had designated with the coordinates he gave him, so where was Gaara? I'm over here, said Gaara, dropping from a tree. Naruto smiled. Great, said Naruto. I didn't see you, so I was a bit worried for a second. Has the night made you lazy and weak so that you can't detect even me? Asked Gaara, his eyes remaining focused the same way they always were. Oh come on, said Naruto, rubbing the back of his head. You know you're stronger than me. How am I supposed to compete with you, Don't be stupid, said Gaara harshly and coldly. Naruto didn't flinch. Don't be coy with me like that, you know that you are by far stronger than I am, whether we use our demon forms or not. I wouldn't say that I'm that stronger than you, Gaara, said Naruto. Hell, you're the leader of your nation. That makes no difference, let's just go. Alright, said Naruto, shrugging his shoulders. How far is it to get there? First let me ask you this, said Gaara. What do you want to accomplish? I need to know what you want to do, what your intentions are. Orochimaru and Akatsuki, Itachi specifically, are both dangerous to the worlds we live in. Which one of them do you want to take down? You mean both isn't an option? Asked Naruto. I was thinking that, seeing as how we get only one fight, both isn't an option, said Gaara with a smile, uncharacteristic for him. Orochimaru is closer to our current location, about a day and a half from here if we run using chakra. His lair is lightly guarded by various nins from sound and a few from wind too, along with even a couple sand nins. And Akatsuki. Akatsuki's strongest remaining member is Itachi, said Gaara. I'd say that, of all our enemies, he is the big kahuna, the king of the rock if you will. Akatsuki has lost a lot of its strength. They had many members in their ranks, high-class assassins and warriors, but they've been cut to just a few decent nins and Itachi himself. How far is he? He is 2 whole days' travel from here, hidden in territory that isn't owned by any of the countries. It's vacant, and therefore not watched by anyone, a perfect hideout for him and his crew. They live in a giant cavern, strangely enough, which is well guarded and sealed. I want them both gone, said Naruto with his teeth clenched. They both deserve to be killed, and I want them both to get what they deserve. How do you expect to just simply fight them both? Asked Gaara with an annoyed expression. We get one shot, one fight. We die after that, have you forgotten? Of course I haven't, said Naruto. I just want more than one of them out of the picture. Taking one out of the picture gives free rein to the other, and I fear the consequences could be worse for this world than if we just didn't fight at all. How so? If we take out one, the other will not have any opposition to taking power, said Naruto. That's what they want. They want power, and to tell the truth, I think they're the only things keeping each other from getting it. They regard each other as big-time enemies, and they are competing for elbow room, distracting each other in a sense. If one is out of the picture, then the other one won't have anything to stop them from destroying sand, or leaf, or any other place they want. I see your point, said Gaara, crossing his arms. I agree, it does put us in a bad situation, but what can we do? Naruto sat down and crossed his legs. What if we could lure them out to the same battleground, like, get them both in one spot? Oh yeah, sure, said Gaara. We'll lure them out. I admit it's dodgy, but think about it now, said Naruto. If they are both together, and we are there too, we'll be at even a bigger advantage. They will help fight each other, right? I mean, Orochimaru wants my body, and Akatsuki wants me as well. They're not going to let the other take me. They're going to fight each other while we fight as well. It's perfect. You do have another valid point, said Gaara. But it would be hard to just lure them out of hiding, and there's a chance that they may just completely ignore each other long enough to kill us, or possibly just kill us before we get to the luring spot. It's difficult, but you know, if they kill me, it wouldn't be a huge loss, said Naruto. If they want me so badly, they won't kill me, and if I die, their plans or whatever they are thinking will be put to ruin. This is too much to think about right now, said Gaara frustratedly. There are too many options. We should camp here for the night, since it would be senseless to continue on in the darkness anyway, and we'll think it over. Scared of the dark, Gaara? Asked Naruto mockingly. Gaara just glared at him. Relax, relied the blonde as he stood and dusted himself off. I was only joking. I guess we can get to setting up camp then. The next morning, Naruto and Gaara awoke to determine what their course of action would be. We have to lure one to the other, or both into a midway point, said Gaara plainly, like it was obvious. In essence, it was the obvious solution, but as many things go, it was easier said than done. Way to go Gaara, said Naruto jokingly. You've pointed out the answer to all our problems. Gaara stared coldly at Naruto. It chilled the blonde to his core. Right. Moving on to business. Any ideas? Asked Gaara. I mean, Orochimaru and Itachi are both very intelligent shinobi, and they're both very strong. Anything we do has to be carried out flawlessly. Well, let's see, mused Naruto aloud while taking a seat with his legs crossed. Orochimaru's closer by about a half day's travel. Itachi and Orochimaru are approximately 12 hours away if you're measuring by running speed. Yes, we've kinda established this one already, said Gaara in slight frustration. It can't be as simple as running each bad guy from their homes into the middle, said Naruto. It'd be obvious that something was amiss if one of us just showed up and knocked only to say, come and catch me if you can. Naruto laughed. But it would be funny to see their faces. I bet even Itachi would crack. Let's assess things a little carefully first, said Gaara. Orochimaru and Itachi both want your hide. We know Orochimaru just wants you for the Kyuubi in you, and why Itachi wants you is beyond us both. However, Orochimaru would also be content with Mai as a substitute because he's getting fed up with waiting for you to appear. If he sees me or gets wind of me being out in the open, thought Naruto aloud. He'll jump on this as his only chance to get you, finished Gaara. Alerting Orochimaru to your presence, he probably wouldn't even think twice before trying to pursue you. He's really desperate for your body as a container for his soul, and it's coming to crunch time for another person to possess. His 3 years are about up. So I guess we've kinda got that figured out, said Naruto. We know how to get Orochimaru's attention. You still can't just waltz right up there though, said Gaara. You can't look as though you're trying to get his attention. It has to appear that you, accidentally, let him find out you're close by. So how do we get Orochimaru in on this as well? Asked Naruto. Gaara sighed. What? Questioned Naruto. What is it? It's highly risky, said Gaara. So it's also very dangerous. It's a long shot, if you will. Spit it out, urged Naruto. The suspense is killing me. Well, we also need you to be the one that attracts Itachi's attention, said Gaara. But we can't have you in 2 places at the same time. This means we need to use Ukage Bunshin technique you're so good at. Go on, urged Naruto, his curiosity piqued. And it involves an advanced henge as well. First of all, I will be the one attracting Orochimaru out here, disguised as you using the henge jutsu. It shouldn't prove too difficult to act like an idiot. Hey, moving on. At the same time, while I'm out in the sound territory, you need to send 3 doppelgangers out towards Akatsuki, and 2 of them need to perform a henge jutsu. Wow, said Naruto. Kage Bunshin to henge, it's complicated, but it shouldn't be terribly difficult. Who should I duplicate? Orochimaru, answered Gaara. You need to become a perfect clone of Orochimaru. Actually, just one of your doppelgangers needs to be Orochimaru, while another remains as Naruto. Your third will act the role of an Akatsuki agent who tells Itachi that Naruto has been spotted fighting Orochimaru. The more you make it sound like Orochimaru's winning, the better. This will stir in Itachi a sense of urgency, as he needs you and can't afford to have you die at Orochimaru's hands. It's making sense now, said Naruto, standing up quickly. I understand it. Good, said Gaara plainly. You have to be extremely careful. This especially applies to the fight you stage between your 2 bunshins. If either of them harm each other, they'll disappear, and the jig, as they say, is up. Got it. I'll be waltzing around the forests near sound, continued Gaara, as you of course. This will of course be noticed by an agent of Orochimaru, and said agent will alert him immediately. As soon as I am aware that Orochimaru is after me, I'll send you a signal with this. Gaara held out a small earpiece in one of his hands. We can communicate with these. As soon as I give you the word, alert Itachi that you are fighting Orochimaru. I'll start running towards the midway point, and you get your 2 bunshins fighting there so Itachi arrives as well. We have to do this in perfect symmetry as well, said Naruto, inserting the earpiece. Theoretically, I should be able to triplicate the earpiece as well as my own body if it's on my person. What do you want the real me to do in the meantime? Hang at the halfway point in the trees and hide, said Gaara. It would be simple of course to have you fill the role of one of your clones, but we want to risk as little injury to you as possible, and you need to be well rested. What about you? Asked Naruto. Couldn't you just send a clone of yourself in the henge form to do your role? I can't, said Gaara. I can't perform any cloning techniques of any sort because of my gourd. It can't be duplicated for some strange reason. The Shukaku in it can't be cloned, and if it's attempted, bad things will happen. Whatever, said Naruto dismissively. Let's get moving. If we leave now and move at a steady, fast pace, we can be ready by tomorrow afternoon. And just like that, Sakura watched the two nins jump into the trees to continue their journey to death. Damn it, they're fast, she cursed as she took up pursuit. I can't let them discover me though. I have to hang back enough that I'm undetected, and I have to use every stealth ability I learned from Hokage-sama. I didn't spend years working so hard for nothing. That old woman is useful indeed. Orochimaru blocked Naruto's kunai dagger with one of his own, parrying the attack sent at him by the blonde child. He effortlessly swerved this way and that, as though Naruto's attacks were coming in slow motion. Naruto gave a primal growl as he jumped back into the fray, slashing and punching, while Orochimaru carefully dodged this way and that, not taking a single hit. Neither Naruto nor Orochimaru were wounded at all. That was because, this battle of course, was all an act. In fact, Orochimaru was miles and miles away. The Orochimaru currently engaged in combat was none other than Naruto himself, disguised as the notorious Snake King with an advanced Henge no Jutsu, but the deception ran even deeper than that. Neither of the fighting pair was actually Naruto. The real Naruto was hiding in a tree a short distance away, unmoving so as not to reveal his cover. The fighting duo was a pair of Naruto's famous Bunshins, shadow clones, and one of them was cleverly disguised as one of his worst enemies. That still wasn't all. Naruto had a third Bunshin in disguise elsewhere, running towards the cavern belonging to the Akatsuki as a member of the group trying to warn Itachi and lure him out to the battle. Meanwhile, to add to the deception, Gaara was under a henge as Naruto in the territory of sound, trying to lure out the real Orochimaru. He walked lazily through the forests, looking absolutely filthy and torn, an attempt at looking tired and easy to pick off. With any luck, someone would notice that a fatigued Naruto was poking his head out of hiding and was just asking to be found. Of course, Gaara indeed was asking to be found. That part of the plan was working actually. A man wearing the sound forehead protector, a man with seemingly warm, yet realistically cold, eyes, ran into a large chamber room. Orochimaru-sama, he said, bowing and looking down at the ground. It's Naruto. What about him? Hissed the snake-like voice of Orochimaru from a shady throne. He sat with a wicked smile on his face. His slatted eyes would have alerted anyone to the evil of this man. Those were the only features visible to the right-hand man, Kabuto. He's been spotted not far from here, clarified Kabuto, still bowed politely. He is just on the border of sound territory, though it doesn't seem that he knows where he is. It looks as though he's lost and tired. Is anyone with him? Asked Orochimaru gravely. No one, said Kabuto. No other life forms could be detected in the immediate area. He's completely solo. Kabuto awaited the reply from his master. Well, said Orochimaru, standing up straight from his chair and stretching. Let's go greet our nine-tails friend. I'm not sure how much longer my Bunshins will last, thought Naruto as he watched them battle. I imagine I've got another hour or so left in them if I'm careful to make sure they don't expel any more chakra than necessary. Sakura watched from not far off as well, observing the fight between the doppelgangers with interest. It's pretty well choreographed, she thought in amazement. Such brilliant and perfect balance and timing in everything. It's amazing how much control he has. Well, I can't say I didn't know how much he had changed. Naruto called Gaara over the two-way earpiece radio. Naruto, can you hear me? Sure, Gaara, whispered Naruto from his position in a tree. Go ahead. I just detected the approach of Orochimaru and another sound nin, said Gaara. They've no doubt found me, or you I guess. I'm leading them to your spot right now. Anything about Itachi? Nothing from that end, said Naruto. Alright, hurry over. I'll be waiting. If I receive any news about Itachi, I'll tell you. Okay, replied Gaara simply. I'm out. Gaara's mic cut out, and Naruto was alone again. The Naruto Bunshin came to a halt in front of the giant cavern of the Akatsuki. There was a huge rock in front of it, and he could tell it was sealed shut. Shit, said the spy. Naruto looks like an Akatsuki agent. Remember, I can't just call out for help. That'll blow my cover. Can I help you? Asked a cold voice, laced with dangerous intent. Naruto spun on the spot and saw Itachi a mere 3 feet away. He was standing right behind him. What do you want? Asked Itachi. Naruto gulped, but recovered his composure quickly. Yeah, fumbled Naruto for a second. It's the Uzumaki brat. He's been spotted less than an hour away from here. Naruto pressed on, not able to observe any signs of facial expression from the deadly Itachi. Thank goodness those creepy Sharingans weren't out. He was scared shitless of those things. Anyway, he seems kinda lost. There's more though. He's engaged in a fight with Orochimaru of the Sound. They're both fighting all out. Really? Said Itachi plainly. He brought a finger to his chin and scratched it. Naruto looked back at the terrifying man's face, trying to look as confident as possible. Those Sharingans were menacing, scary. Sharingan, yelled Naruto in his brain. When did he activate that? Shit. Itachi gave his wicked half smile. You take me for an idiot, Naruto-kun, said Itachi. I didn't attain the most powerful Sharingan eyes for nothing. You think a henge jutsu is enough to fool my all-seeing eyes? Naruto's henge was released, and the blonde boy looked up at Itachi with a smirk, trying to repel the fear within him. Yeah, I guess I was hoping that would work, he said. Foolish brat, said Itachi. You're mine now. Naruto stood rooted to the spot. Itachi grabbed collar of the boy and held him up. Naruto did a fast hand seal as he was lifted. Double Bunshin no Jutsu, he said. With a pop, a second Naruto flashed into existence several feet away. Itachi turned to look at the blonde boy that had materialized out of thin air as it began to run away. The clone still in Itachi's grasp grabbed both of Itachi's arms with both of his own and latched on. My time is almost up it would seem, said Naruto. I won't give you the satisfaction of taking my life however. Naruto took a kunai out of his satchel and drove it into his own hand and threw Itachi's as well. Itachi let out a small grunt from the pain as Naruto disappeared. I Bunshin, he asked himself. Very clever, little brat. But a wound to my hand isn't enough to hurt me really. I am impressed at your control over your chakra now though. Itachi stood straight and wiped the blood away from his scratched wrist. Forming a shadow clone from a shadow clone. Expert chakra domination and flow control. Itachi ran in the direction Naruto had run off to. He knew Naruto was planning something, probably something along the lines of a trap. He didn't care and he didn't worry. Whatever Naruto was thinking wasn't enough. Itachi smiled in spite of his normally grim demeanor. This might be fun. Naruto, back at the battle site, the real one, had seen what happened. His attempt at tricking Itachi had failed. Gaara, he said into his ear microphone. Can you read me? What is it Naruto? Asked Gaara. I'm busy running away right now, man, I'd love to just kill them here. Itachi didn't buy it, sighed Naruto. He saw through it. It's that damn Sharingan. So he's not coming. Well, I think he's coming anyway, said Naruto. He doesn't seem to care. Be careful Naruto, said Gaara. Don't engage him alone. We're still not sure how things are going to play out, but we only have a chance if the two of us are fighting together. Got it, said Naruto. Out. Naruto sat and stewed in the tree branch. He hadn't moved in hours. He wanted to at least stretch, but it could blow his cover. He had to watch those stupid doppelgangers play fight. That Sharingan is unbeatable, he thought. He can see through any genjutsus or ninjutsus with it, even taijutsus. What was I thinking? Even with Kyuubi's extra chakra and power, how can I overcome something like that? Child, are you doubting my power? Kyuubi. Ah, you're awake. You don't think my power, even if fully tapped into by yourself, can bring Itachi down. Kyuubi, his Sharingan is unbeatable. Anything we do can be seen through, no matter how much control you give me. Kid, I haven't spent the last few years training with you for nothing. I figured a time would come when I had to give you one last lesson, or rather, this is more of a gift. What are you talking about, Kyuubi? A gift? Is it anything like me having to die because of being your cage? Because, you know, I'm not too fond of that. I never intended for that to happen. Listen, I've come to grow fond of you, child. I like you. You've got spunk, enthusiasm, liveliness. You've been an unbearable pain in the ass. Watch it, Fox, or I'll kick your ass. Hey, that's what I like to hear. Show me your spirit. Kid, if you're going to die for this fight, then I'm going to help you do as much as you can before you go. This gift, consider it my repentance for having killed you in advance. So what's the gift? It's an ability that only I possess, kid. It's called the Nine Tails Iris. It's a modification to your human eyes. A modification. The Nine Tails Iris. What does it do, Kyuubi? You, of course, are aware of the power of the Sharingan and Byakugan. It is similar to those, but it also has its particular differences. The Sharingan is key to uncovering the secrets and methods of ninjutsu and genjutsu, allowing limited foresight. Right. The Byakugan, as well as being able to see through physical objects, can see the paths of chakra that flow in bodies, meaning a very skilled user can tell if something like a bunshin is fake, or it can see where chakra is being focused. So what's your iris thingy worth? I'd watch your attitude. Shut up. The Nine Tails Iris is by far much more useful of an eye to have. It grants you my mind, first of all, meaning everything I know. While this eye is active, you will know battle strategies, knowledge of any jutsus, anything, you know it all when you're using my eye. Wow, that is great. Wait a minute, if I just know what you know, I'll be pretty dumb, won't I? Sorry, kid, but that insult sucked. Anyway, that's not even what makes my eye so great. As I said, the Sharingan and Byakugan have their special abilities. My eye, child, is the only thing that can stand up to the Sharingan's foresight. What? You mean your eye can beat the Sharingan? Even the Mangekyo can be beaten by it. Kid, the Nine Tails Iris will even the odds and prevent the Menchikyu from taking any power in this battle. Before you go asking questions, it'd be best if I explain. I'm not sure what you've heard of the abilities a Mangekyo user can attempt to perform, but one is called the Tsukiyomi. It allows the user to create the illusion in a victim that they are stuck in another place and another time from reality, and the user is in complete control of what happens in this reality. Usually, it's used to torture the victim for endless periods of time, even though it's only an instant in the real world. Illusions such as this won't even faze you if you've activated my eye. Whoa, that's awesome. So, you're saying I'm immune to genjutsu? Essentially, yes, you are immune to even the most powerful illusions and genjutsus. This gives you a huge advantage. There's more though to the eye. Not only can it prevent genjutsus from taking over you, but the Nine Tails Iris is adept at messing with the Sharingan. I don't understand you there. The iris will send false signals to the Sharingan eyes, almost like turning genjutsu against its own master. I'll explain better. If you were to fight a Sharingan user, he'd be able to see your actions a split second before they happen, and thus the ninja can act accordingly to counter before you even make the move. The iris will give you a way to counter it by actually sending your actions to Itachi's eyes a little longer ahead of time than original. Wait a minute, that just sounds like it's helping the Sharingan. In essence, it's boosting the Sharingan's advantage for sure, but the Sharingan user won't know it, and will actually try to block a split second before it's time to make the necessary action. You can throw Itachi's timing off completely. He'll make a punch in one direction, thinking you're going to be there, when in actuality, you're not there yet. You can get the jump on him by catching him off guard. It actually causes the enemy to lower its defenses. This is best for taijutsu aid. Wow, Kyuubi, that's a lot of power. How come you never gave it to me before? Because, little child, the Nine Tails iris will most certainly mean death. What? By using the iris, Naruto-kun, you will actually be bringing out my power for a time. Kun, you will be me, and I will be you. Don't freak out, you'll still be in total control, and you won't look any different. The problem is, the use of the iris is simply a lot more power than a human can control. I mean, think about it. The fourth died to seal up my powers. Naturally, bringing out my full potential, even if it is at the container's request, someone has to die as a result of its use. What do you mean, someone? You make it sound like there's a chance that the user doesn't have to be killed. Bah, what does it matter? I'm going to die anyway, right? Kyuubi, I'm going to die, right? I mean, it's unavoidable anyway, so I've already accepted the fact that I will be dead at the end of this battle. So I'm not sure what you're saying, or I'm not getting the full effect of what you said about someone dying as a result of the iris. I'll be me that dies here today. Naruto-kun, now that I think of it, there's a chance that this iris thing might save your life. What? Why? Naruto-kun, will you be dead at the end of this battle? Because bringing out your power will be the final straw that breaks the proverbial camel's back. It will put too much demonic strain on my body. As a demon, you're meant to be holed up in a human body. As just a mortal, physical container, I will wither and die from the stress that bringing you out will result in. As soon as your demon power subsides, when the battle is done and you're not needed any longer, I will die, because, in essence, as soon as I activate you, I should die. I'll live as long as your demon chakra is out and around my body. Is that it? You got it right on the nail, kiddo. You're right. I will be your death. It's hard for me to say it, kid, but I am so sorry that you had to pay so dearly for me. Sorry, Kyuubi. I don't really understand it myself, so don't ask me to explain. You've kinda changed, my kid. I mean, I've been in you all your life. Naturally, I am affected, I guess. I'm starting to even think like you. Hell, I used to only think about how to escape you. Now, I only think about the best way I can help you overcome your battles and enemies. Kyuubi. Anyways, yes, bringing me out will certainly kill you, but I think there might be a chance that you can be saved by the iris. Someone will definitely have to die, but the death might be transferable. Your death is supposedly inevitable as a result of my power. Another death is also imminent if you use the iris, usually the user's death. But that's trying to take from the same cookie jar twice. How about you try explaining to me why the iris is fatal to me? You're going to confuse me and a lot of readers pretty soon. Oh, the Kyuubi and Naruto casually glance at the audience reading this story. Naruto gives a sheepish smile and waves, and then the two turn back to their business. The iris is a great deal of power. It's a great deal of demonic power, actually, as I'm sure you know. Using it is equivalent to all the stress I've put on your body over the years in one shot. You understand that much? Yeah, good. That demon energy needs to be transferred upon the end of the iris's use. It has to go somewhere. This is unlike normal chakra transference when performing jutsus. In nin and gen jutsu use, when you don't use the chakra you've summoned up, it disappears. That's not possible with my chakra. That's why, whenever you've been able to tap into me and my chakra has been just coming off in waves, it typically burns up your skin. It needs to go somewhere. Fortunately for you, you've been able to build up a sort of immunity to the waves of chakra that freely flow around you and not waste it, giving you even more control. Well, the iris could follow a same sort of use. I don't follow you. Look, if you can find a way for all the demonic chakra and energy I expel for the iris technique to go somewhere other than back to you, all the demonic strain put on your body by this last battle, regardless of anything else, will go with it, and will undoubtedly survive. Are you getting any of this? Whoa, Kyubi, you mean I can live if I can find some place to transfer the negative effects of the iris? That's exactly it, my boy. It's tricky though. It took a lot of use and getting used to just to be able to stand my chakra flow and to be able to reroute it for better use. This is much more complicated. You can't reroute it to yourself like you've been doing. At some point, before you tap out of my powers, you need to do something to get rid of that negative energy. You need to shoot off the last of the iris's powers into another living person. And this other living person will die. Undoubtedly, but Naruto-kun, it's extremely difficult, and it's only specula. Alright, it sounds like a plan. By the way, I gather what I need to do it actually be in contact with my transferee and release all the demonic powers into him or her. Correct. Yes. Itachi will be my transferee though. I'll need a way to successfully make sure the evil chakra transfer goes smoothly, thought Naruto quietly as his doppelgangers battled it out. It's the trickiest thing I've ever thought of. Naruto, said Gaara urgently through the earpiece. It's time. I'm practically at your location. Got it, Gaara, said Naruto, standing up from his tree branch so he could see more clearly. He could definitely detect the three chakra sources coming nearer and nearer. He had less than a minute. Here goes nothing, he said to himself. He hopped down from the tree branch, and Sakura was startled from her sleep. She had been sleeping for a few minutes, having nodded off in the boredom. Damn, she screamed to herself. I can't believe you fell asleep. What kind of nin are you? She saw Naruto walk out into the open and wait for Gaara's arrival. Gaara jumped down from a tree and stopped. They're right behind me, Naruto, said Gaara. We'll have to do the best we can to not use up our demons too much, at least until Itachi arrives. I understand, said Naruto. I have a few new abilities that might be able to help me without Kyubi just yet. Put your heart into this battle, Naruto, said Gaara. To be honest, I know for a fact that we are outmatched against Itachi and Orochimaru together. I'm counting on the famous Uzumaki weakness of not knowing when to give up. I know you'll come through for the both of us. Ah, come on, Gaara, said Naruto, rubbing the back of his head sheepishly. You make it sound like you think I'm stronger than you or something. Gaara turned around to face the bushes, muttering something that sounded a lot like, idiot, to Naruto. Out of the bushes jumped two foes that Naruto would like nothing better than to kill instantly. Orochimaru and Kabuto were there, standing with their arms crossed. Their faces showed completely different emotions from each other though. Orochimaru wore the typical, sick, psychotic grin on his face while Kabuto remained stoic and emotionless, neither excited nor seemingly put off at seeing Gaara and Naruto waiting for them. Orochimaru looked over at his look-alike and the Naruto Bunshin fighting. How strange, he said amusedly. What is the meaning of that? None of your damn business, Orochimaru, said Naruto, waving a hand nonchalantly. The Naruto Bunshins disappeared into a puff of smoke. It seems we were led into a trap, Kabuto, said Orochimaru, still smiling. You think? Yes, I see it now, said Kabuto, shifting his weight a little. Gaara is apparently quite the henge accomplice. We were following a fake Naruto to get to the real one. I wonder the meaning of this. It matters not, said Orochimaru. Naruto-kun, I've been searching for you for so long, and now you reveal yourself to me. Whatever can you be hoping to accomplish? Bad news for you, pal, said Naruto challengingly. My days on this planet alive are numbered. Orochimaru's smile dropped a little. That's right. I'm dying, buddy, and there's nothing that can be done about it anymore. We can leave the iris thing a secret for a little while, you think? Good thinking. What do you mean? Asked Orochimaru. You look like quite the healthy little boy to me, the perfect container for my soul. Naruto laughed a few times, just to piss off Orochimaru. It seemed to work, as it became apparent that the snake Sannin was annoyed that he didn't know something that the blonde apparently did. Orochimaru, you want me for the Kyuubi that dwells in my body. You think that having the body that is the container for the strongest demon will help you? That Kyuubi is killing me, Orochimaru. In fact, the next time I make a move in combat, I will die. You bluff. Why would I bluff? Asked Naruto sardonically. I called you here for a fight anyway. That's my purpose for this fight. I will die while simultaneously taking you with me to the afterlife. You show no signs of lying, Naruto-kun, said Orochimaru. I'm looking at the face of a 100% honest man, aren't I? Naruto nodded. And you, Gaara of the Sand, are you going to tell me that you also are dying at the hands of Shukaku? Gaara nodded. I see, said Orochimaru. I understand. Your bodies have taken too much stress from your respective demons. That's what's killing you. Well, I have no intention of fighting you too. You don't have a choice, said Gaara, sand starting to peacefully flow from the gourd on his back. It formed a ring around him. We didn't bring you here to tell you it was fruitless to attempt to use our bodies as your slaves, said Naruto. We brought you here to take you down before we go down. It's sort of like our dying wish. Orochimaru laughed his wicked, fear-inducing laugh. Coo 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 coo. It occurred to Naruto that Orochimaru now knew something he didn't know himself. Orochimaru had some kind of trump. No, little boys, I don't believe that you realize it is indeed you that is without a choice, he said, his face switching to the menacing glare he gave when serious. I am in control here. Kuchiyu's no jutsu. A huge snake burst from the earth several yards away as it was summoned. Orochimaru's summoning ability hadn't evidently gotten any worse over the years. That was a lightning-fast summoning if Naruto ever saw one. Naruto froze in horror as he saw what was wrapped tightly in the snake's long tongue. Sakura was struggling helplessly in its grip, her arms pinned to her side. Orochimaru laughed even more. I see that you're realizing the situation in which you have placed yourself, Naruto-kun, said Orochimaru. See what you have done. You have jeopardized the life of this lovely little girl. And for what? You thought you could just take on Orochimaru of the Sannin. You foolish, stupid brat. Sakura-chan, yelled Naruto. What the hell is she doing here? This is wrong. This is bad. Put her down right now, Orochimaru. Or what? Asked Orochimaru. He raised his hand a little, and the tongue trapping Sakura tightened as she gasped. I'll crush her. You know it's not beyond my ability or rational. Gaara, what can we do? Naruto, you are a shinobi, said Gaara. A strong one at that. You know that sacrifices have to be made in the heat of battle. This, Sakura, is in the way of our very last mission. He can't be bargained with. That's unacceptable, growled Naruto to himself. Isn't there something we can do? I will not be used as a tool to fight against Naruto-kun. Screamed Sakura with rage. She burst from the tongue of the snake by expanding her chakra in a bubble around her, using her strength taught to her by the Hokage-sama. She dropped to the ground and landed on her feet as the snake hissed angrily at having its tongue torn apart. Orochimaru looked taken aback by the outburst of strength from just a girl. You are strong, he said after a moment's pause. I only know one female to have accomplished strength like that. Hokage Tsunade, same as my sensei, said Sakura with her best glare she could muster. I believe she is the woman to which you refer. I see, said Orochimaru. This will be an interesting battle if I have to fight. You do, said Naruto, walking forward to Sakura. Naruto, she said quickly. I'm sorry for following you here. I didn't mean to. Naruto placed a hand over her mouth quickly. I need you to stay out of this battle, he said seriously. You weren't meant to be here for this. I don't want anything happening to you. Other battles, I've been able to be there by sheer luck a lot of the times. I don't know how far that luck will take me in this battle. Leave, Sakura-chan. Naruto turned around and faced Orochimaru squarely. Your ass is grass, he said to him. Kabuto can fight too. It's no matter, you'll need all the help you can get. Coo, such confidence. I hope you have a good show for me, Naruto-kun. Don't disappoint me, after all these words we have exchanged. Orochimaru disappeared before Naruto or Gaara knew what was happening, and he reappeared right in front of Naruto, his kunai drawn. He jabbed with the weapon, but Naruto backflipped out of the way and jumped back with his own kunai. The metal clashed on metal as sparks flew from their synchronized attack. They pressed into each other for a few seconds before Orochimaru was forced to retreat backwards. A stream of sand blasted right past him. Had he been a second slower in leaving Naruto, Gaara's sand would have had him. He threw his kunai at Gaara, which was effortlessly repelled by the auto defense of the gourd sand. Kabuto landed next to Gaara and slashed several times toward him with his open hands. The sand raised itself automatically for each block, but it was cut apart by Kabuto's karate chops. You're using medical ninjutsu for combat? Asked Gaara as he stepped backwards a few steps with Kabuto's advances. Chakra scalpel. You're observant, said Kabuto. Your sand is an ultimate defense, but my chakra-enhanced attacks can slice through it as easy as a scalpel cuts flesh. Naruto followed Orochimaru into the air with a kunai in each hand. Don't you run away from me, he yelled. He threw a kunai at the Sannin, which was blocked with ease. Naruto met him in mid-air and parried a kunai from Orochimaru with his remaining free one. Rasengan, he yelled. The blue, swirling energy hit Orochimaru squarely in the stomach, and the man was thrown in a swirling heap to the ground, where he exploded into a puff of smoke. A bunshin, stated Naruto. Orochimaru fell from above with his katana drawn. He sliced vertically at the blonde boy, and the sword cut a long gash in Naruto's stomach as Orochimaru landed. You fell for a basic bunshin? Asked Orochimaru. Please tell me you can offer more. Naruto smiled as he also exploded into a plume of smoke. Orochimaru saw only too late Naruto's plan, as the boy jumped from the trees above. Et tu, Orochimaru. He slammed both of his fists over the man's head, sending him into the ground like rocket. Underneath, said Naruto as he landed, clenching his fist victoriously in front of him. A lesson learned from my former sensei. Get serious, Orochimaru. Orochimaru stood up straight and began laughing. Your sensei was wise. Kakashi. No. Well, you're right. It is time to get serious. Orochimaru disappeared, the telltale signs of the use of super speed. Naruto's eyes followed him effortlessly. The snake Sannin threw a kunai at Naruto's head as he dashed sideways, which Naruto dodged by turning his head to the side a little. Simultaneously, Orochimaru switched directions fast enough to give anyone whiplash. Naruto's eyes didn't follow him after that. Shit, I lost him. Something smacked into the small of his back hard, sending him forward to his knees in pain. Orochimaru had placed his elbow conveniently in a strong attack. As he recovered, Naruto was hit again by Orochimaru from above, causing him to hit the ground with concussive force. He stared up at a kunai that Orochimaru was in the process of stabbing him with. It almost hit, but he twisted to the side in a split second and curled his body into a brilliant spinning kick move that tripped Orochimaru while simultaneously kicking the dagger out of his hand. Try to imagine a break-dancing-like move. He whipped himself to his feet while Orochimaru did the same. They faced each other grimly. Each had a small spot of blood on the corner of their mouths. Your taijutsu is improved, said Orochimaru. And you're ugly, retorted Naruto with a laugh. I've been training too long to only be equal with you, Orochimaru. I'm going to prove that that training has made me powerful enough to take you down as a superior shinobi. Orochimaru laughed again. Naruto couldn't possibly hate that laugh more, he thought. But he was hating it more and more every time he heard it. You, equal or greater to me. My dear boy, you haven't a chance. Orochimaru started performing some fast hand seals. Kuchiyu's number jutsu, he yelled, summoning a cylindrical coffin from the ground. Naruto had heard of him doing something similar in his fight against the third from an overheard conversation amongst Anbu. Naruto readied himself. Whatever puppet you've summoned won't be enough, Baka, said Naruto, raising a single kunai as he took his stance. Orochimaru laughed. Come on out, Uchiha Sasuke-kun, beckoned the Sannin with a hiss. Naruto's eyes widened in stereotypical surprise as, out of the coffin, stepped the body of Uchiha Sasuke.